Shadow Gamers here, and welcome to a Raid Shadow Legends video. And we are doing a Jagg Bonesaw new legendary that just came out. He's an attack-based champion on his A1 razor wheel. Attacks one enemy, steals 10% of the target's turn meter, has a 25% chance of repeating this skill. That one ought to be an interesting skill indeed. On his A2, Shred the Flesh, he attacks enemy 2 times before attack and transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target. Damage from the first hit increases by 10% for each debuff transferred. Then applies a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. Damage from the second hit increases by 5% for each debuff transferred and each debuff applied through the debuff spread effect. And if you book them down, it's a 3-turn cooldown. And that was very interesting run there too. Lacerating Tempest is A3. Attacks all enemies. Before attack and removes all buffs from all enemies. Damage increases by 5% for each buff removed. Fills this champion's turn meter by 15% for each enemy killed by this skill. And when booked, it's a 4-turn cooldown. On his passive, Rev Up the Saw, at the start of this champion's turn, places a 50% increased accuracy buff and a 30% increased crit damage buff on them for 1 turn. At the end of this champion's turn, places a 30% decreased crit rate debuff and a 25% decreased crit damage debuff on the enemy with the highest crit damage for 1 turn. Interesting passive right there. He's got a decent amount of HP. His attack is pretty good at 1500. Speed at 101. Not too bad. So you're definitely going to want to put some attack, a little bit of defense, definitely some speed, crit damage, and accuracy on this champion. Aesthetically, he looks pretty cool. Check that saw out. It looks like a blade of some sort on his other side. And there he is in your face. Alright. So, that's just a quick video today on Jagg Bonesaw. A little bit later, I'll come out with one of the other new champions. Oh, it'll be interesting to see. We might as well go ahead and make one more. We'll get 2 champions today and 2 champions later. So the next one is out of the Lizardmen faction, and there he is, Sulfuyion. Oh, that's definitely a fire lizard indeed. Alright, so his A1. Volcanic Rend. Attacks one enemy, fills this champion's turn meter by 15%. Also fills the turn meters of all allies except this champion by 10% when attacking a target under HP burn debuff. On his A2, Blazing Barrier places an HP burn debuff on all enemies for 3 turns and instantly activates any HP burn debuffs on all enemies. Whoa, that's good. Then places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns, equal to the damage inflicted by the HP burn activation. The value of the shield buff cannot exceed 25,000 HP. And book that goes down to a 4-turn. Man, that's a really good level thing right there. Definitely. Oh, there we go. Rise from the Ashes A3. Revives all dead allies with 50% HP and 40% turn meter. Then grants an extra turn, and that'll be down on a 5-turn cooldown. not too shabby. On his passive, Pyroclastic Boon fills the turn meters of all enemies by 5% for each HP burn debuff placed. Whenever an HP burn debuff is activated, heals all allies 5% of their max HP. Whenever an HP burn debuff is activated on Scavig, Tainted Scavig, Spiderlings, or Tainted Spiderling, heals all allies by 1% of their max HP. Interesting indeed. Whenever an HP burn debuff is removed from an enemy, places a 50% decrease resistance debuff on that enemy for 1 turn. Whenever an ally is killed by an enemy under HP burn debuff, fills this champion's turn meter by 20%, increases this champion's speed by 7 for each active HP burn debuff. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Put that on a good fire team with a mixture of HP burns, and you could be quite the fast little champion you end up with. His HP is actually pretty decent at 18,000. His attack is 1100, and his defense is 1200. That ain't too bad either. His speed is actually pretty decent too at 109. And he's actually got a little bit of accuracy resistance, so you don't have to struggle as hard to get those. Yep. Definitely an interesting character here. I definitely want to see this champion in action, so hopefully next time I get a chance to pull a legendary, I hope it is him indeed. Alright, that's going to be today's video. So I gave you Jagg, Bonesaw, and Sulfuyion. So hope you enjoy the video. We'll catch you later. Tomorrow I'll give you the other champions from the Sylvan and the Skinwalker factions. And happy raiding, and we'll catch you again.